Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me again this week as we continue learning together new practices that lead us into God's presence, new ways that we can experience God's presence on a daily basis, new things that we can do just to spend time with God and experience His presence with us and for us. This week, we are focusing on the idea that God is kind, that His love is kind, and that He embodies kindness for us. And so I want to spend some time this week engaging a practice that helps us focus on the way God has been good for us, the way that He has been kind to us. So many times at least I do, I find myself focusing on the negative parts of life. I find myself thinking about the difficulties or the struggles, and it's easy to get stuck in thinking about um, the not so good parts of life, the struggles, the difficulties, the hard times. And we have to actually practice focusing on the good things. And we have to teach ourselves to think about the ways that God has been good. We have to teach ourselves to recognize when He has been good and to give Him credit for the good things in our experiences. So this week we're going to engage the practice of journaling. Now, in my experience, journaling has often been, write about your thoughts for the day, or write down how you felt for the day, or maybe even journal your prayers, write out your prayers every day. And those are all great journaling practices. Those are great ways to use your journaling to express yourself and to keep track of your thoughts. But I want to start using the journal as a way to keep record of God's goodness, to keep record of the way that God has moved in your experience, moved in your life in ways that are good. And you're going to grab a page, and at the top you're going to write something like, God is kind, or God has been kind, or maybe um, God has been patient. Different things that about God that you're going to look for, different things about His presence in your life that you're going to look for. So this week we're going to start with God is kind. And then we're just going to spend some time thinking about, how have I seen God's kindness show up in my life? How have I seen His kindness manifest in my experiences, in my interactions with people? Um, just how have I seen kindness show up? And now again, we're not used to looking for these things, and so it's going to take some time just meditating on God's kindness. What does it look like? What am I looking for? How does kindness show up? And as things come to mind, just jot them down. Make a list. And it doesn't have to be a big list. At first it may be hard to come up with some things to write down about how God has been kind. But spend some time thinking about that, and just write down what comes to mind. And especially if you do this at the beginning of your day, then it sets your thoughts for the day toward that. And as you go throughout your day, as you think of new things, or as you experience new things, go back and jot them down, or take note of them in your mind, and at the end of the day, go back and jot them down. And what you'll begin to do is to create this list of ways that God has been kind to you, and ways that He has shown up in your experience, things that maybe you wouldn't have caught before because you weren't looking for it. And then your journal will be there for you in the days when life is hard, when you feel like God has not shown up, when you feel like He's not been kind to you. You can go back to your list and you can see, hey, these are ways that God has been kind, and it will help you see the way He has continued to show kindness to you. Use other pages for things like I said, God is patient, or God is generous, or God is loving. Different ways that you're going to look for God to show up in your experience. Make those headings, and then keep a list of those things. And what we're going to actually do is, not only are we going to keep a list for you to go back to, but we're going to retrain your thoughts so that you're going to be looking continually for the ways that God is showing up, for the ways that God is doing good in you and for you and through you. And then you can start to see how God is being good for others as well, as He's showing up in kind ways for other people. And you can help other people see that too, about, hey, isn't it really awesome how God did this for you, or God showed up in this way for you or with you. And it just increases our awareness of God's goodness in our world. And as we become more aware of His goodness, maybe we'll become less aware of the struggles. And we'll begin to reframe how we think of life. in terms of God's goodness instead of the difficulties. So this journaling practice can be a really good way to focus our thoughts intentionally on the goodness of God and how he moves continually in our world, in our own experiences, for the goodness of his people. So use that this week. Use it alongside your examine practice. As you look back through your day and see how God has moved, you use this journaling as a way to keep track of those things. And I think you'll begin to see your outlook is a little brighter, your ability to be an optimist maybe will be increased. But you'll begin to see yourself focusing on goodness, and you'll begin to see your emotions lift, your spirits lift as you dwell in the goodness and the kindness of God. Love you guys. Have a great week.